Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. You're here with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
And Aaron, we've got another guest on the show today. Someone who we are going to learn a lot from. No pressure, Kevin. We are joined by Kevin Wolf. Uh, Kevin finished 21st in the world last year, and we had a great time sort of seeing how his journey went. Because I think you were as high as third at one point, Kevin. You were like
Yeah,
super
third or
high.
fourth, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say third.
Okay.
It was third. It was third.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's great to have you on the show for us today. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great and happy to be here. Happy to chat with you guys.
Perfect. If anyone does want to follow Kevin, his Twitter handle is at k.wolf. Give him a follow. So just in terms of last season, obviously you did amazingly well. Do you want to talk us through was there anything that you felt that you did? Any procedures, any particular kinds of picks or captaincy decisions? What was it that you felt really give you the leg up, particularly in the group stages last year?
Yeah. I think my first one was just not avoiding the high priced players and going with a lot of premium forwards. So I think I had Haaland, Lewandowski, and Mbappe to start. Continued to rotate in Messi, Ronaldo. Just these guys dominate Champions League, right? Like I remember the one game, I think Mbappe, I captained him. He scored a hat trick against Barcelona. It
Yeah.
was just the guys that dominate are going to dominate the Champions League, right? It's everyone wants that trophy. I think that's a main one. You guys talk about it all the time, but it's taking advantage of the scoring system. So having players like Casemiro, like I think you guys were saying about Salah, right? Like high ceiling, but low, like potential low points if he doesn't get anything, he doesn't track back, he doesn't get ball recoveries. So you have Casemiro. I think he had 85 ball recoveries for 25
Yeah.
points or something like that last year. So picking players like that you know, okay, he plays on the second day, that's some guaranteed points. I think that was very key. And I think maybe the last one, well, obviously don't take hits. It's not like FPL,
Yeah.
right? You guys talk about that all the time. Yeah, limiting the twisting of captaincy, I think was the other one, right? Like I think there was a few times where my captain maybe just got a goal. It was like, okay, Ronaldo plays on the next day, playing an easier opposition, then he blanks. I'm like, okay, well, I just lost my double captaincy goal points, right? So I think that was another key that I just didn't really twist. I did that with Euro Fantasy as well. It seemed to be working out good for me as long as they hit on the first day.
Yeah. I tend to level it off at 7 points or 6 and under. If there is a better choice for the next day, I'll probably go because
Mhm.
it's one return. And when you consider what you might lose, it's actually not that much. But yeah, if they get even a goal and a ball recovery point or midfielder goal or anything like that, then yeah, I totally agree. It's all about doing the maths. Oh, Aaron's gone. Aaron's disappeared. That's going to be lovely. He'll be back with us soon. No one want to see him anyway. We're not here for him. We're here for you.
Yeah.
uh, was there anything? Obviously, you were up at third. You went up around 21, sorry, which is an amazing score.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you feel, you're going to take into this year? I'm going to do this differently.
I guess just jump in. Like Mahrez is what brought me down. I think it was that one game where he had 2 goals. It was the quarterfinals or semifinals, I think it was.
Against PSG, was
Yeah,
it?
against PSG. And he had those 2 goals. I didn't go with him. People were talking about him. I just say, you know what, I'm going to stick to my squad. I think I got it. Maybe when you're that deep, especially in the Champions League game, teams are so similar. I should have looked to see who was in and around me. I probably should have just went with him just to be safe, right? And that's what kind
Yeah.
of stepped me back and dropped me back. And by the time I hopped on him, it was too late. The points were already gone.
Yeah. Did you have Mahrez for the PSG game, Aaron, or did you go? Because I can't remember who you went with.
Yeah,
Remember for last year?
Mahrez was one of my number one targets once I saw that he was playing regularly. So I didn't captain him, but he was quite a differential already. So
Yeah.
it worked out in the end.
I had him captain for the first game, and then just before the second leg, I took the captain off him, and that was a nightmare. But I think I had Foden and Gundogan as well. I mean, I had a nice little spread of them to all cover for KDB. I was like, I can't afford him, so let's go for the rest. Go for everyone else. So Kevin, let's have a look at you. So you've got 2 drafts that you've set up. I'm
kind of want
very
to chat to you
interested
guys
to
about it.
see them both and see what the differences are, and maybe the inner conflict that you've got going on between which one are you going to pick. That'll be really interesting. So, Aaron, do I have Kevin's teams?
Yes, we do. It should just bringing it up now.
Okay, then lean in as a.
Yeah, so this is the first one. I'm leaning more towards the second team, but I wanted to chat to you guys about some things.
Sweet,
honestly, shout out to you guys. A lot of this research is from listening to your group stage kind of preview pods. So maybe a pro tip for everyone out there is listening to this podcast.
Yes, love that pro tip.
So yeah, I can go through it quick, I guess.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
like
Go for it.
I kind of said before, right? I have the 3 premiums at the front. Both my drafts have the 3 premiums: Ronaldo captain, Haaland, Mbappe. I didn't bring Ronaldo in this week for FPL, and like my family's Portuguese. I can't believe I didn't do it. And then it obviously scored 2 goals. And I was just, it was heartbreaking. So the midfield is where I get a little nervous about. So Jorginho, Dahoud. So I got a premium in Salah, obviously, but that takes away a ton of my budget. I think everyone has Alvarez, so he's not really going to move. It's more Jorginho, Dahoud, and Salah. I think I'm going to go with Casemiro no matter what. Like I said before, his ball recovery points are key. Yeah, so my other team we can see after, it's a different 3 in the midfield. This one I've went with Kimmich, Rudiger, Wan-Bissaka, Acuna, and Roussillon. I think that's how you say it. And then Con.
Yeah, Roussillon is what we've been calling him. It might
Yes.
not be, but why not?
I originally had that. I think his name's Wober from Salzburg.
Salzburg, yeah.
And then I listened to you guys, and it seems this guy's a lot more offensive. So it's like, whatever. 4.0 defenseman that could get me an offensive return. I'm not turning that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty set on a Chelsea defender. So my other draft has Azpilicueta. I kind of like Wan-Bissaka just at his price point, and they're playing young boys first. If they don't get a clean sheet there, he'll go right out of my team. And I like Sevilla's group. So I was thinking about the double up with their goalie and Acuna. I tend to avoid the double up in defense. Just, I guess, yeah. I hate to see if you lose a clean sheet and that's the only reason they're there. And yeah, you have 2 players in defense, unless it's Chelsea or Man City, but they're expensive. And then Kimmich, Hakimi, Trent, like take your pick.
Yeah.
This one I have Kimmich. The other one I have Hakimi. I think, Daniel, you're bigging up Hakimi, so I might have to go with him at the end.
Oh,
And then
don't take my advice.
And I question, I guess, for you guys, like Kobel's the Dortmund goalie. I
Yeah.
like their group. I know they leak goals, but I think they'll get a few clean sheets. And he plays on the second day. I don't know. I think I like him. I think you guys were saying that there's an Ajax goalie that's 4.5, but
Yep.
I have him right now.
So, I'd personally, if I was to choose between Kimmich and Hakimi, I'd personally have Kimmich. That'd be,
Okay.
I think, he's out of position. He's on set pieces, and they tend to get roughly the same amount of assists and things like that. Anyway, what I would say though is I think Kimmich's got an easier group, which is what I like more about Hakimi. I've got them both. I don't care. I've doubled up on them because you've said what I've said, Aaron said what Matt said. That midfield's a bit of a barren wasteland this year. It's really, really tough. With regards to the Dortmund goalkeeper, they beat Leverkusen at the weekend 4-3.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like, well, Leverkusen are of the caliber of Ajax, of Sporting, maybe not Besiktas, but I'm sure Besiktas are still more than capable of scoring. They're a Champions League team. So I don't want to put you off, Corbel. It's just not anything that would ever interest me, a Dortmund goalkeeper. I don't even think he's been making loads of saves for them either. But there are so many 4.5 million goalkeepers. Obviously, the same can be said for Stecklenburg at Ajax. He's going to be playing Dortmund and Sporting. So I don't think he's a much better option. I think that's actually a bit of a trap that we may have fallen into, thinking, oh, well, this is really good, but is it? Do I want him against Haaland? Probably not. But there are so many 4.5 million goalkeepers that do start.
Yeah, so that's a position I probably have to look back into. I'm not super confident, I guess, with the Dortmund goalie. But yeah, there's a few nail. What do you guys think about Wan-Bissaka? Because that's an interesting one.
I'm going to pass this off as my own idea. It's definitely Aaron's idea from the last podcast. But Rudiger's, just real quick, Rudiger's 5.5, isn't he? Is that right? You could do Rudiger down to Azpilicueta and then Wan-Bissaka up to Harry Maguire. Because I think Rudiger and Azpilicueta will probably get the same points anyway. But I think, as Aaron says, Maguire is a target from set pieces. Just as an idea.
Shout. No, that's a good shout. Because then Shaw's higher up, right? He's even 0.5.
Yeah, he's the next one up. He's 6. Okay. So you're gonna have to stretch it a little bit. I love the Acuna pick and I love the Roussillon pick. Yeah. I'm thinking about going Acuna instead of Banu.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Sevilla's good. Like I watch the league all the time, being a Real Madrid fan. They're always good defensively. He seems to be popping up offensively as well. So if Banu's not going to get the save points, if Acuna pops in with an assist or a goal, then to me that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and at 0.5 cheaper.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was going to be so many 4.5 million playing goalkeepers until we did our previews, and it just seemed like everyone had a 4.5 million starting goalkeeper. So I think I'm going to go back to the drawing board on my goalkeeper situation because I just don't like it anymore. Dahoud, I'm guessing he's in for his ball recoveries more than anything else. Is that what we got him in for?
Yeah, and he's cheap. He seems to be playing. Yeah, I know he doesn't pop up with the offensive goals, but I like their group. I think he'd get ball recoveries. It's just a safer pick. I had Conte in there, Jorginho. I feel like they may be trap picks. So my next draft, you'll see I don't have them in there.
Okay.
I think we're a day away, so this is where we really start, like, really thinking, like, what am I doing here? I need to scrap this whole thing and start again.
Start trying to narrow everything down. Yeah. I know what you mean with the Jorginho pick because he gets ball recovery points as well. He gets a lot of them. But he was obviously boosted last year by penalties, which I don't think he'll be on this year. Obviously, he might be a rotation risk. I know he won UEFA Player of the Year, but I still think when you've got Saul, Kovacic, Kante, and obviously Jorginho in there, it could be a bit dangerous later on down the line. Aaron, you've not said anything. You've just been sat there in silence. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, silent assassin.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. It's a good team. I think one of my some of my thoughts on the team is like what Dan was saying about Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, I think, and Varane over the weekend. Obviously, he was playing our team, Newcastle. Varane had a near glance header that just went wide. So, and Wan-Bissaka, really, really good defensively. But I think in terms of opposition managers trying to attack Manchester United, like if I was looking at their team going, how am I going to try and get a few goals against this team? Looking at their back line, you'd probably try and avoid Wan-Bissaka as best you can. So with Luke Shaw being so far up the field, and also I think Pogba is the defensive midfielder who sits in front of Wan-Bissaka and Varane, while I think it's either Fred or Matic on the left side, which makes the left side even more of a target. So that's why I'm a bit more leaning towards Maguire, especially because if we look at Newcastle's goal on the weekend, what side did it come down? Yes, I mean, Almiron broke down the right, but it was St. Maximin who passed it off to the Newcastle defender who was unmarked running into the box. So the left side seems to be the target area for Manchester United. So as a result of that, in terms of ball recovery points, you'd probably want Maguire because he has to mop up a lot of either Fred or Matic's mess. So that's the only reason I say that. Plus, in terms of set piece danger, you probably want the person who's scoring the set pieces over the person who's delivering them in terms of like Luke Shaw and stuff like that. So, but Wan-Bissaka can definitely get good points. And for 5 million, it's probably the right price point for him compared to the other defenders in the Manchester United backline. So not opposed to that. It's just you get what you pay for, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Rudiger, Reece James is the same price. And obviously with his red card, we don't know whether it's kind of put Tuchel off playing him or whether he's going to come straight back in as a well-rested right wing back against Zenit. Does Reece James tempt you at all?
Oh yeah, I love and I hate Chelsea all at the same time. Right? It's with me with FPL is the same thing. I just try to go safe, and Rudiger seems to be safe. He got a decent amount of points last year. I like the show to go down to Azpilicueta though, and then up to Maguire. I think that's a great change. But I would love Reece James if I got some kind of knowledge that he was going to start. Or if they were the early game and we saw that, he'd be in my squad 100%. Seeing him play, who did they play where he got the goal and assist? Forget which game that was. But anyways, he's just bombing up the wing, right? So
yeah, he got that goal and assist against Arsenal, didn't he, earlier on this season? Yeah. I've got a question for you, and it's because you've just mentioned then that you have Portuguese heritage. Do you follow much of the Portuguese league or football?
My grandpa is a diehard Benfica fan.
Okay.
So it's hard to watch on TV, right? It's just you got to pay for the Portuguese channels in Canada, and I'm just not as, I guess, committed to the Portuguese league and watching it. So yeah, I'm a little lax on the Portuguese league knowledge, I guess.
Do you have any idea how to pronounce Pedro Gonçalves, isn't it? Is that how you pronounce his name? Do you know how to pronounce it? Is it is the C with the little flicky bit at the bottom a Z? I don't know.
Like a K sound or something.
Gonçalves.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, we'll roll with that from now on. I just thought I'd ask, put you under pressure, live to 100 people.
I've just lost all. If anyone from Portugal is following me, they just unfollowed me.
Yeah, well, you are from Canada. Well, we're from England, and we struggle with English, so I wouldn't worry about it. Do you want to show the second team? Then we'll have a look at this one and see how it differs.
Yep, this is the second team.
Yeah, so same three forwards, which I'd like to get your guys' opinion on that, because I know Depay is an option and can help me in other places. I just feel this is the team I'm leaning towards more. I feel like it's more balanced. And it's kind of weird. Like Jack Grealish, he's a little bit of a placeholder. It could be Jack, it could be Torres, it could be Gundogan. I think I want one of those three. Mason Mount, I just like what Chelsea's doing. I like that he's feeding the ball to Lukaku, and he's the golden boy for every team he plays on. So I feel like he's going to get the starts, and he's going to pop in with assists.
He was rested on the weekend as well.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm going to go with him. Bellingham's an interesting one. I love Dortmund's group. I don't know why. I think it's just the Haaland attraction to that team, but I think he's playing up more. He gets subbed. No, I think I saw the last 2 or 3 games he's been subbed. So what I'm thinking is I could downgrade him to more of a ball recovery person and then upgrade to Kimmich. So then I could have Hakimi and Kimmich, Dan, like you were saying, and have a pretty solid back line, which I think might be the play. Same goalies. I think you guys have convinced me I'm going to remove the Dortmund goalie and find another 4.5 playing on the second day. But I guess if I downgrade Bellingham, then I could easily upgrade Wan-Bissaka to Maguire as well, and then have a really, really solid back line. I keep looking at the midfields, and I'm like, why is my midfield look great? And then I go through it, and I'm like, well, yeah, because it's not as good. Every forward I want, there's so many good defenders. It's just the midfields. I just don't have Salah, right? That's what's lacking in this team is a premium option in midfield.
I think the issue with the premium midfielders is that they just aren't good options, really. I think Gnabry is at 10. He's got another hat full of goals for Germany over the international break. Salah's always good, but for 10.5, and he's got a really defensively minded group.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And De Bruyne isn't fit. They're the three for me that I think are really juicy. And then you go, well, would I want any of them over Haaland's group, Ronaldo's group, Mbappe in general when he's got Messi passing the ball to him? Mm-hmm. That's where it comes into it. For me, the glaring thing that I'd personally do if this was my team is I'd downgrade Jack to Gundogan and have the million to pop off anywhere else that you want.
That's what I'm thinking.
I love the Bellingham pick. He's been very, very good this season. He had another goal disallowed from VAR this weekend. And I totally agree with what you're saying about Mason Mount with how he's playing in with Lukaku. I love those two midfield picks. Obviously, Casemiro, Alvarez, your staple ball recoveries. And I actually think I do think it's quite a balanced team because of your three midfielders. I just think, like I say, if you can get Grealish down to Torres would save you 0.5, or Grealish down to Gundogan would save you a whole million.
Yeah.
And then you can go to a Trent or to a Kimmich in defence, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know who you'd go from there. I think you might have to find another 0.5, don't you, if you went from Gundogan. Or do you have any money in the bank with these?
No, I don't. I'm full.
He has a question for you then. He has a question for you because I like what I definitely prescribe to the thought of target games for your premium forwards and make those your transfers really to really target them.
Yeah.
Oh, not my mic. So Mbappe is 10.5. What do you do when you want Lewandowski when he's got a good fixture and Mbappe has Man City in the second game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking about that too. That's tough, right? Because then I'm going to have to make a transfer somewhere else just to upgrade Mbappe, and then what are you doing? Yeah. Because I'm getting him next week, probably no matter what. Going without him for 1 week's tough enough.
I think you probably need, if you wanted to have Mbappe to start with, then I think you just need $1 million in the bank left over, and then obviously if you want your two premium defenders, you can obviously save that $1 million from Grealish to someone else, but then you're going to need another 0.5 as well off somewhere to have that, and then it starts to destabilize everything.
Yeah.
So I do really like this team. This team is not too different to mine. I think mine will change loads, but at the minute I've got Torres in, but Torres is my most expensive midfielder. I had Bellingham in all week, and I took him out because I think I might punt Musiala because he's playing first day, but I might not. I might bottle that. I don't know. That is proper punty. But I mean, I've got a 3 bargain basement midfielders. Listen to you speak though, and Aaron, I'm definitely being put off Luke Shaw, but I'm so big at the back, it's a joke. So looking at your team and how balanced it is, it makes so much more sense to not just get dragged into stacked at the back.
Yeah. Kimmich is a big miss. Like, obviously, he takes set pieces. He plays in midfield. But I could sub him out for Hakimi, I guess. What do you guys think of Casemiro? So he hasn't left my team yet. He's just always been there. But he is 6.5. And he's not really going to score many goals. And he loves the yellow card.
Aaron, do you want
does.
to take this one?
I think just in terms of, I didn't get to watch the full game yesterday with Real Madrid, but obviously it was very high scoring.
Yeah.
Just kind of all the goals kind of came in the last little bit, didn't they? So Casemiro seems to be, I think, as I mentioned, Modric is coming back from injury. I don't know about Kroos. And so he's like kind of the stable fixture in that team.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of other injuries at the back for Real Madrid, like Ferland Mendy's missing and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're very injured right now.
And so
you have been for like the last 18 months, haven't you? Like literally hundreds of injuries.
Yeah, it's the curse of the Super League, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously the players don't.
I think with Casemiro is that there'll be more required of him defensively, because the amount of ball recoveries he gets compared to other defensive midfielders. So compare him to potentially Jorginho, or compare him to Fabinho, different defensive midfielders like that. I think in some of them games, Chelsea, Liverpool, they're going to control the ball as much as they can. Whereas with Casemiro against Inter Milan away in a full San Siro, that there's going to be so much required of him to do.
Yeah.
With any defensive midfielder, there's the yellow card risk, the amount of defensive tactical fouls that they do. But with Casemiro, he does pop up with a goal. He's also good with long range efforts.
Yeah.
And so he's definitely still a good pick in my opinion.
Okay.
One of the comments has just come in and just said that Casemiro is a target in set pieces as well. So we are going to get round to the other comments soon. So thank you for your patience. But yeah, like, I think Casemiro is still a safe pick, and the amount of effort that he'll have to put in on behalf of the team, I think, is just as much as some of the other defenders, and he's got a track record of doing it. So
one player that we seem to have picked is, and you might know more because he plays for Sporting Lisbon, is Palhinha. He's 5.5. But he seems to be picking up goals as well, and that's in the group that you like, 5 million, and he's in the Ajax Dortmund group.
Yeah, he's a stud in the Portuguese league. Yeah, I've been looking at him as well. I think, this midfield's what's really in my head right now, because at least with the defense, Hakimi and Kimmich, it's almost a toss-up, right? But with the defense, I feel like I'm changing it completely, like every 2 days. And you guys can see, but Casemiro and Alvarez, I guess, are the staple. But it's those next three that I just left Jack in there because he is 8 million, so he lets me play a little bit more. But I think he's on my list of potential players for sure, and it's 5 million. If you get some goals, maybe that's where I downgrade Bellingham, maybe, or even Mount. It's tough.
I'm also just looking at this, and it's a point that we made with Matt. I think, I might be wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think 4 of your 5 midfielders play on the second day.
They do.
So obviously, I mean, you finished higher than both me and Aaron. Is that a conscious thought for you when you're playing this game?
It is.
To try and have as many playing in the first day?
Yeah, I don't like that. That's one thing, I guess, with this second draft, is there's too many players on the second day. Banked points are big points, right? That's kind of a staple for me. So having this many on the second day is, it's an issue in this squad.
So that's just something to think about. I've said it before, it is so difficult. The fixtures have not fallen kindly for midfielders at all, I don't think. Any ones that you would consider to get, they've got a difficult group. And then they're playing on the second day, which is fine for match day 2. But obviously, I'm with you. I like to try and have a balance as best as I can, so that I'm never too far behind on that second day, either way it swings.
So I think for me, right, I'm sure you guys are going to preview your teams, right? Like,
Yeah.
the three up front, that's where it all starts, right? So if you're going three premiums with that much money, then you just have to figure out the rest of your squad. But if you put into pie for one of these guys, all of a sudden 3 million's open and you're kind of laughing, right? There's where you get your premium defender. There's where you can upgrade some of the midfield. Last year I was always premium up front, so I don't think it's going to change, but I'm curious what you guys are going to do on your forward line.
I have 3 premiums up front. Last year, I cannot remember, but I think I went. I'll have to. Someone might prove me wrong by looking at our team previews from last year, because I cannot really remember. But I went without Haaland. Awful. What an awful decision that was. But I think I went for 2 premiums and 1 mid price, and I did fairly well the first couple of game weeks. My strength was the knockouts, but there was also other options in midfield, so you could have Salahs and De Bruyne's, and Bayern Munich midfielders were obviously high on people's lists, especially Gnabry after the season before. The scary thing about having Depay is the plan to jump around. Depay doesn't. I mean, you can jump around between Depay and Naziri and Wout Weghorst and Giroud and these sorts of players, which is fine if they've got an okay fixture. Whereas having Haaland, Ronaldo, Messi, Lewandowski, 3 of them 4, you can always comfortably get. Especially, like, I've got Lewandowski in my team at the minute, and even though out of those 4 premiums, I think he's got the hardest fixture in Barcelona. Mbappe scored a hat-trick against Barcelona in the group stages last year. They aren't very good defensively. Yeah. Bayern Munich beat them 8-2 the last time that they played. And by having Lewandowski at 11.5, it means I never have to worry about what striker I can go to from there. So I don't just want to, pardon the phrase, spunk my load on match day 1. It's fine if you're gonna wildcard in 2, which I know some people are doing. It's not for me. That obviously you can do whatever you like, but I need some ways of getting around. And the midfielders aren't ever really appealing to me. The premium ones, I think the only one that will is when Kevin De Bruyne is properly fit and available to play against like Club Brugge. But that's match day 3, match day 4. Loads of time for injuries, loads of time for coronavirus to pop up and grab someone. So that's just my thinking. But I agree, the forwards on this are where you really need to start and work backwards from.
I think with premium forwards, you get the better chance of, even if they only score 1 goal, that they'll get the man of the match points, especially if that's the winning goal. If Ronaldo scores 1 and someone else, like 2 other people, say take this weekend, for example, Fernandes and Lingard, they scored, Ronaldo's more than likely going to get the man of the match points because of his profile. Haaland as well, Mbappe, his is a little bit more at risk because Messi will probably get it just by walking on the field. And Lewandowski, he'll need to score just 1 goal, and he could probably still get man of the match, even if someone else scored 2. So I think that's one of the benefits of having the premium forwards, especially when they're probably going to be the most captained people, like Haaland, for example. I think he's bordering on, I think he's above 60% now. The 3 points for man of the match, if they're captained, that's a defender's goal right there. So it's quite a lot of extra points are now getting given. And I think that's one of the things about your 2 drafts. I think you've got a better chance of, like with Salah, for example, of getting them points. Obviously, you don't want to try and chase the man of the match points. Whatever happens, happens. But there is that risk of going too low profile. Like, I don't think Casemiro will ever get a man of the match award. I think there's two other many cogs at Real Madrid for him to be able to get it that much. But people who we all love N'Golo Kante, he just gets them all the time. So that's one of my things when thinking about premium forwards, is that they're more likely going to attract the man of the match awards compared to, take for example, Jota, Salah. If they both score one, who's more likely to get it? It'll probably be Salah.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the benefits of going premiums this season.
Oh, very good point. For Conte, do we know if he's going to be back? I'd easily downgrade Mount to Conte if he was playing. But
yeah,
I think Mount is just as good as any to get a man of the match award. We love the work rate. I don't know who actually awards it. Is it? I don't know, because if it's done by the commentators, Mount is just as good as Conte for getting like we're trying to big him up, trying to show that he's not.
I think it's UEFA officials, because it's the same. I know that we didn't have man of the match points for the Euros game, but they got awarded the UEFA star of the match. And whenever right, like England's first game against Croatia, Raheem Sterling won it because he scored the goal, when anyone watching the game knew that Calvin Phillips was man of the match. But Sterling scored the winning goal. UEFA saw that. He gets man of the match. So I know you're right in terms of the high-profile players are going to get it. I think Kante is a very, very likable person, and his ridiculous trophy run of win the league with Leicester, win the league with Chelsea, win the World Cup with France, have one season off, win the Champions League with Chelsea. Like, people look at that level of prestige. I think you're right with Casemiro. I can't see him getting many man of the matches. It'll be Benzema, who is in great form as well.
Hat trick yesterday,
yeah. That's another reason why I feel like I want premium forwards, because at some point, is Benzema and Sheriff's group?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, Inter, Sheriff, and Shakhtar Donetsk.
Straight in. Don't care what other fires I've got to put out. Benzema is playing for me against Sheriff in those games, and I don't want to have to downgrade other people to jump up if I do have a Depay who has not the easiest group. Like, it's not a hard group. Obviously, they've got Bayern Munich, and he's a very good player, Memphis Depay. I think we had the chat as well, and I think I'd probably prefer En-Nesyri anyway. But even then, that's why I didn't want to go for one of those players. I had Braithwaite for a little while, although he's due for surgery now, so he won't be playing either way.
Yeah, he's out.
But for your specific plan of jumping premiums for fixtures, you might get tied up in knots a little bit down the line if you do go for anyone that isn't one of the maximum players, or at least have that much in the bank. But then why? Like, I understand why having 500,000 or 1 million in the bank is useful. 3 or 2.5, like, go for one of the big players in that case.
So out of my 3, Dan, who do you have Lewandowski in for?
I've got him in for Mbappe, and the reason is obviously I can have 1 million left over. That's fine. I do like the idea of Mbappe against Bruges. I just think Lewandowski can score against absolutely anyone, and he's in form. There was a point last year where I didn't have him in, and I benefited from it, but it's because I watched the games and thought Bayern Munich aren't on it. They beat Leipzig yesterday or the day before. This weekend, they beat them 4-1. Another Champions League team. Lewandowski scored again. Like, he scored every game this season, I think. And even against England for Poland, he was probably man of the match. He was absolutely brilliant up front on his own, dragging them up the pitch. There were 3 or 4 England players around him, and he's getting like his quick feet through 3 or 4, them laying it off, running on, out muscling players. He's hot in form. Bayern Munich are in form. I'm too scared to not have him. And it's because it is a transfer next week or the week after, for the next games, because I don't want Mbappe against Man City. I'd probably want Lewandowski. So I may as well just have the extra transfer and feel like that Lewandowski can do equally as well against anyone.
I just looked. They play, and I didn't realize they play on the first day too. So that's where Mbappe doesn't, and that means I could have maybe a midfielder again that plays on the second day that I want.
Yeah, but I think for your plan, there's nothing wrong with having Mbappe against Bruges at all. Like, I think you'll absolutely ruin them. They are not very good defensively. Messi and Neymar got arrested the weekend, I think, from Copa America. So I imagine they'll end up playing behind Mbappe. That's only going to help his appeal. I do think Mbappe will outscore Lewandowski. I just don't think he's going to outscore him by enough to warrant a transfer booked in.
Yeah.
So that I can have Lewandowski for next week. But that's just my own feelings. If you're comfortable doing that, go for it.
I need a plan for him next week, right? If this is what I'm doing, I need a plan for Lewandowski next week. That's it. Without a hit.
Who have they got next week? Bayern Munich. Just double checking that it is someone. Yeah, Dynamo Kiev.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's Lewandowski's bread and butter. That deep block, nice and low, get himself involved. He'll like that fixture. It's not like he's someone that wants lots of space in behind. So, yeah, that's just my opinion. Do we have any comments, Aaron? Did you say we had some comments? Any questions?
Yeah, a lot of people. We've got about 3 or 4 people asking about chip strategy. Kevin, what is your chip strategy? Something that can really, people could have a great season in it, but if they get the chip strategy wrong, could really plummet in the ranks. What is something that you did, or what you're thinking going into this season about your chip strategy?
I don't know if you guys remember, but I think I tweeted at you guys last year saying I completely messed up my chips. I think I played my wild card super early, and then everyone played it. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, and I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna crush my rank." I got lucky, and maybe that's the best tip of it all. You got to get kind of lucky every once in a while. I think you guys were talking about this on one of your preview shows, the Limitless when Man City's the early game. I think that's week. What is that? The third match
3.
day 3. Yeah,
week 3.
And Chelsea are the early kickoff on match day 4.
So it's going to be a toss up for me with Limitless between those two. I think I'll still lean Man City just because I think they're just so dominant. I'll probably go in 3. I'll have to really review the fixtures. But it's going to be either one of those. And for me, I wouldn't mind saving my wild card. I know people like to use it early. People use that strategy in Euro Fantasy as well. I like that in my back pocket. If I think my team's maybe not top 100K or something like that, but the points are there. I'm 10 points, 20 points off. I don't like to rush. Like even in FPL, people use their wild card this week. I held off. So that one's tough for me. I don't really know when I'm going to target the wild card yet, but definitely Limitless 3 or 4.
Cool. Good stuff. And just one last thing that I've just realized. We're a bit worried about, obviously, the best midfielders play on the second day. A little bit of feedback there, sorry. But in terms of the order of the groups, so people on match day 2, if they played on the second day in match day 1, they'll be the first day in match day 2. So like you'll alternate.
Mm-hmm.
Having all them midfielders maybe in the long run, do you think that would help you out match day 2, or do you want to try and get like a good balance of both?
I like the balance, and I like to target my transfers to help me out with that on the first day, like making sure. So that's why maybe Lewandowski, if I was to transfer him in, he's going to play on the second day next week. So maybe starting with him is actually a benefit, and then figuring out, okay, I got to get my midfielders that are going to play on the first day. So then I can kind of have that balance. I think all my defenders right now too are the first match or the first day this week. So that's maybe somewhere where I need to kind of go back to the drawing board and just make sure there's that evenness in my team, because that's such a benefit, I feel like, to this game, is being able to utilize your substitutes. It's so key.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And someone, I can never remember who it was, DM'd me on Twitter last season with actual statistics about substitutions, in that players that play on the first day earn like 21% more than the second, because of like once you've transferred and once you've kept them, and because you know that you can get rid of those players like by utilizing that. Now, if you went 11-4 for your 15 players, 11 first day, 4 second day, then you're absolutely screwed for match day 2. So I do like that sort of balance of, 9 players playing on match day 1, and then for your 2 substitutes, 2 transfers, you can then remove 2 of those players to bring in 2 players that then play, and then you've always got a majority playing match day 1. And I think that for me, I usually feel most comfortable. Is that something that you do, or are you more of, no, I want 10 or 11?
No, I like the balance. I'll probably steal that from you for this year. That's a good number to target. Yeah, last year I always found, I think roughly, I was always around 4 to 5 playing on the second day, and then utilizing all my transfers to make sure, okay, yep, I want to get a player that's now playing on the first day, and just kind of counterbalance that. Again, right, even a defensive midfielder that plays on the first day, if he gets 2 to 3 ball recovery points, like that's a solid, and a clean sheet maybe, you're not transferring that player out, right? Like it's a solid amount of points to come in. So yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Perfect. Do you have anything else in the comments, Aaron, or was it just the
no, they were the only two things. So
happy days.
All good.
So now that we've spoke about this, Kevin, are you still leaning towards 2, or are you looking to edit 1 for your teams?
I'm looking towards 2, I think.
Yeah.
And I like the shout to downgrade Grealish to a different, to either Torres or Gundogan. I think Gundogan is probably more nailed. But again, right, it's the balance of, okay, then you play Torres and he's playing in the middle 3. So I'll have to think about that. And then probably looking at, these midfielders that are playing the second day and making sure I'm covering that rule you kind of just said, Dan, to make sure I'm not kind of messing this team up, and then I have to wild card, right? Like that's kind of the last thing I want, is looking at this team next week and saying, oh man, I really kind of messed up the different match days, and I don't like the players that are coming in, so I'm going to wild card in 2, and I think that will set me back further down the line. So I think there's a few nailed, like Haaland's nailed, I can say that. But yeah, I don't see it changing too much, but it's going to be like a Hakimi switch to Kimmich, right? It's going to be those little things that just tinkering tonight. I'll tweet my team out before, if anyone's interested at all.
I'm sure there will be. I know we are.
Yeah. And like I love this game. I think it's just fun. Like being bored in Canada, right? Like we call it soccer, right? But football's not the number 1 sport, and always coming home from like high school and things like that. Like Champions League was always on at 3:00 right after school. It was the best thing to watch. And yeah, it's such a good tournament, and this is just a fun game. So yeah, I think it's a little less frustrating than the FPL, and I like that, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, you don't need as much patience for this game. It's just have all the dopamine at once, get all your points. If someone blanks, sub them out. It is good fun. And
exactly,
because there's a 2-week period between rounds, like you're not thinking about it all day every day. It's not like, what am I do? Or the price rises. It's not like you've got to download a special app. It's just, right, the points have happened. I get to enjoy my next 2 weeks, and I can make some decisions a couple of days beforehand. So that's really good. Kevin, thank you so much for jumping on. We will be keeping an eye out on how you're doing. And you are a part of our Champions League this year. So as part of our live stream, we will be doing the draw for our Champions League. So stay in touch for that. I think we're going to try and seed it. So you'll be in seed 1, lucky you. I mean, we've got Viali, who won last year playing, and
wow.
FPL Tour. I don't know if anyone's seen his ranks. It's like 4th, 6th, 3rd. It's frightening consistency. So
I'll be the Malmo this year, or the Sheriff.
So it'd be great. Obviously, be talking to you about all that sort of stuff as well. Aaron, as ever, thanks for jumping on, and for everyone that's watched, thank you so much. And we will see you tomorrow, because it all kicks off. We'll be doing our live stream and our team reveals then as well. Best of luck to everyone. Kevin, best of luck to you. Hopefully you can get another 1 place higher into that top 20.
Yeah. No, thanks, guys. This was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Not a problem at all. You're welcome anytime you like. We will see you all later.